Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. I grew up in a small town in the middle of the country. If you didn't want to farm or work in the town's one factory, you either had to leave or get a job somewhere else. I didn't want to work as hard as a farmer does for so little money, but I couldn't go to college because I couldn't afford it. So, I ended up working at the plant where a few hundred people were still working. Tri-County was a small company in the area that had been making good clothes for 75 years. It had recently bought other companies, and its size had grown to the point where it could go public. But there was too much debt, so the board got rid of the upper management. Everyone was worried about their jobs. What would we all do if the plant closed and the jobs were moved to a place where people worked for less money? The economy was bad, and there weren't many jobs available outside of the plant. We'd all have to leave our homes, which would be worthless because there are so many of them on the market. We all held our breath as we waited to meet the new CEO before starting work for the day. A businesswoman wore a suit and walked up to the microphone. She had gray hair, wore light makeup, and looked very put together. It must be the new secretary. Eleanor Alfredson is my name. Tri-County's new CEO is me. People in the crowd gasped. I know you're all worried about your jobs, so let me start by saying that. I'm not a mean person who just wants to make a quick buck. I'm a woman, and I care about what you think and how you feel. People in the crowd did not like it. There were some whispers and boos. They didn't care about how people felt. We were focused on our jobs. Believe me, in time you'll see that we've built a relationship where we're both on the same level. We'll all be in the same boat, and the fact that I'm a woman won't make a difference to you. You can't talk to guys about feelings and relationships and then expect them to be interested. Duh. With your future in mind, I want to tell you a few things. First, I'm going to tell you about a new program that will give each of you a chance to get stock options in the company. If you take more responsibility for your work, you will care more about it and do a better job. And we are giving you a share of the company's profits, so if the business does well, you will do well. That was better, and I heard some people nod their heads in agreement. Next, Tri-State is going to stop making men's clothes and only make clothes for women. This is so they can take advantage of better profit margins in the market. Quite a few boos. Last, but not least, we are switching to a new unisex work uniform to encourage people to work together. Everyone who works in the factory will wear the same clothes, so we'll all be on the same level. The same thing happened in those Japanese car factories in Ohio. I think that was fine. She then told us that she would be asking for more employee feedback in the coming weeks, and that we would get to vote on important issues. We would come up with new rules and policies. We would use new ideas like just in time, which was also used in Japanese car factories. Last, she told everyone about the rest of her new team. All of the top jobs like CIO, CFO, and COO were now held by women. Her management team was made up of only women. Oh well, maybe they knew more about the business of making clothes for women. I didn't really care how much we made as long as we could keep our jobs. After the new management had been in charge for a few weeks, small changes began to happen in the plant. One change was that they painted the fork trucks hot pink. They said there was a study that said it was easier to see than yellow and would make accidents less likely. We also didn't like that the new uniforms were a shade of pink. We also started meeting with Wendy, our new manager, once a week as a group. We were told that we could say what we thought and bring up any problems without fear of being punished. At first, we were afraid to speak up, but soon we saw that they were actually willing to hear us for a change. So far, we kind of like this new CEO. 3 weeks after that, we met with Jasmine Williams, the chief financial officer at the plant. Colleagues at work, she said, we have to make a very important choice. As you know, Tri-County has been having trouble with its money for a few years now. Most businesses in our situation would start by cutting jobs, but we're trying to think outside the box to avoid that. There were some nods and even a few applauses. Taking costs into account, we need to make a choice, and you will have the final say. In the past, we've had some trouble with the quality of new product lines. We make a new style of clothes, test it to make sure it's good, and then put it on the market. Once it's there, though, we get a lot of clothes back. That costs us a lot of business, and if we don't fix it right away, it could cost you your jobs. The last group in charge hired a company from the outside to help us. We send them samples of the new clothes we plan to sell. They test them in many different ways and tell us what they find. But we think this is a lot of money. To keep our contract with them, it costs us more than it would to hire 30 of you. So let me ask you, what should we do? We can move testing in-house and use the people we already have, like you, she pointed to the crowd. Or we could hire a testing company, but then we'd have to let go of 30 of you. There was a rain of boos. Any questions? What do you think we should do? Someone from the back asked. We would ask you to try out the new clothes in the field. Our workers would wear them during their shifts and then hand them back to us at the end of the day. We can't let them leave the plant because they haven't been set free yet, but if they were worn during the day for a few weeks, we'd get a good idea of how they wear and could fix any problems before they went on sale to the public. So what do you say? How many want to test on their own? Every person in the room put their hand up. Who would vote to do away with jobs? You could have been cutting your own job. Who wants to keep the outside firm? Silence. The yes vote wins. Loud applause, saved 30 jobs, meet Donna Lawrence. She will tell you about our newest line of products and how you will be tested on them. Okay, she said, but before we start, I want to remind you that you signed a non-disclosure clause that says you can't tell anyone about products that haven't come out yet, right? People nodded to show that they agreed. Many times before we had been told this. Our new line of underwear is going to change the market because it is so innovative. A blonde girl who looked like a centerfold came out as a model. She had on a pink bathrobe. The new Ultra Body line is here. The model wore a red bra and red pants that went with it. Wow! She began to walk around the stage with a strut. This new bra is made to support, shape, and be comfortable. The matching nylons are made to get rid of panty lines and highlight a woman's curves to make her look as feminine as possible. They help shape and control your hair, and the high side cut makes you more attractive. Your own set is in the back of the room. Every morning, you have to put it on. What do you mean? Shouted someone from the back. I don't want to wear that. But you just voted for that, said Donna. He yelled, I'm not a girl. We can now vote again. I have a list of the 30 jobs that will need to be cut. Come this way so I can look at your ID and tell you if your name is on the list. Chaos ensued. After some back and forth, we decided that we would have to go along with their plan to test the products in-house. We'd spend the whole day in the plant, and no one would see us. This was also going to save our jobs, so not many people wanted to speak out against it. You have to realize that if you lost your job at the factory in this town, you really don't have anywhere else to go. You have to sell your house and move when you can no longer get a job. In this bad economy, you won't get much for your house. When we came in the next day, one of the red bras and a pair of matching pants were in each of our lockers. But when it was time to wear it for the first time, I wasn't sure what to do. I wasn't sure if I could really follow through. But Carol came in to help us the first time. She had done the fittings for our department. What's wrong? She asked, being afraid of a small piece of cloth. I said no as a defense. No one wanted to look at each other because we all looked stupid. I felt so silly wearing them, and I was glad to put on my uniform to hide the bra. At the end of each day, we had a form where we could rate different criteria by marking them off. It quickly became normal and everyday. Larry found a split in a seam on his bra one day, which is something that has happened to most women who wear larger ones. Larry got a $1,000 bonus check because he was the first person to notice the flaw. Donna said that his idea would save the company a lot of money. Mike noticed that the tag with the washing instructions was getting rough on the inside of his pants. For that, he got $500. So, over the next few weeks, when they gave us more things to wear every day, we got pretty excited. Several new lines of dresses, blouses, and skirts, as well as casual wear and wigs from a company we had just bought, needed to be tested. I was the lucky one who noticed after a few weeks that the zipper on the back of my black leather skirt kept getting stuck. I got a $350 bonus when 3 other testers found the same problem. Cool. The following Monday, after we all got ready for work and went to work, We had a team meeting. Wendy, our boss, spoke with us. As you already know, Tri-State cares a lot about equality and diversity in the workplace. Coworkers who are women have been telling us that they are being treated unfairly. I can only tell you in the strongest possible terms that you can't act like this. We all have to go to a diversity training class this week because of this. This morning, our team is going first. Come with me to the classroom. We all walked down the long halls to get to the training room in the back of the plant. Crystal was a beautiful woman who taught us how to do things. Where did all of these girls come from? We all liked training classes. You got paid even though you didn't have to work. She started with a bunch of boring speeches about equality and diversity. Then she told us we would do a bunch of activities like role-playing to learn about diversity. Each of you guys is going to act like a woman. You will read from a script and try to imagine how it feels to be treated differently because of your gender. Each of the women will play a man in the play. Try to understand and feel what the person who has to deal with your lack of decency has to go through. We were put together. She read to me, and I answered from the script. Good bits, baby. After a few hours of this, I could really understand how a woman feels when she is looked at and hit on. Even at the end of the day, I took the pinups off my locker. I didn't think about how they felt when we treated them that way. 6 months had passed since the women took over the business. Donna, the CFO, said that everything was going well. Profits had gone up by 35%, and sales of the new products looked good. Tri-State had just bought a small lab for making cosmetics, and they were going to come out with a new line of cosmetics to give their customers a full shopping experience. So, of course, we decided to test the products ourselves instead of sending them out to be tested. We'd have to start putting on makeup every day, but if we found any flaws, we all looked forward to the money. And the checks for profit sharing, once money started coming in. In fact, Tri-State planned to offer makeovers at the stores, so they started training the beauticians who would do the makeovers. Every day when we got there, a professional makeup artist would put on our makeup and try to teach us what colors and techniques worked best for us, just like they did for their customers. You have very bushy eyebrows, Anne, my stylist for the day, told me. If we waxed them back a bit, you'd look much better. I was fine with it as long as she didn't cut off too much. Well, it turns out that since she was newer, she did take off too much, and I ended up with thin eyebrows like a woman. Oops, my bad, she told me. I guess I need to do this more often. So I had to keep the eyebrows until my real ones grew back. They also painted our nails, which were a different color every day to match our outfits. I learned how to put together an outfit and how to match colors. It wasn't easy. How did women do this all the time? On Monday, Sarah, who is in charge of the plant, asked if there was anything wrong. A couple of workers said that they hurt their ankles when they ran into the rail at the bottom. We need to move all of them so we don't trip over them. With all the miles of railing on the lines, it was decided that it would be very expensive. Sarah said she'd look into different shoes for work. The new shoes didn't come for another 2 weeks. They turned out to be more like women's pumps with a higher heel so that the ankle would now be safely above the rail. They were also more stylish, which made our whole outfit look better. Everything was going well, but there was a small problem when the payday came. Our paychecks were all for the right amount, but they all started with Miss, Mrs., or Miss. We showed Wendy our manager. She went to the bosses and got the answer. The front office had a new computer system, and that was just a glitch that would be fixed as soon as possible. Don't be worried, she told me. Our department that works with computers is working on it. The computer, though, thinks we are women, said Jack. Maybe it can tell by how you look these days. Bill said this, which made everyone laugh. Gina was one of the pretty girls who worked with me. She had long black hair, a cute face, great curves, and a nice bust line. She was also smart, which made her very sought after. I had known her since high school and had asked her out more times than I could count, but I never succeeded. At lunch one day, she joined me at the table, and we had a great conversation. She said, "I know this sounds silly, but now that you're dressed as a woman, I feel like I really know you. Before, I looked at you the way everyone else did, like you were a wolf staring at me. But now that we dress the same and you act so much nicer, I think I'd like to say yes to your proposal, which you've been making for years. Friday, let's go out to dinner." I felt my heart jump. "The girl of my dreams asked me out on a date. That would be really great," I said. "I will book a table for us." "I did it already," she said. "It was at Vincent's Ristorante. It was a fancier place with low lighting and great service. It was 2 towns and 30 minutes away, but it was worth the trip." Wow, for her to go to all that trouble, she must really think something of me. "But I have one question for you," she said. "Would you dress up like you are now for the date?" I'm not sure. Taking this out in public," Gina said. "Well, if you're that interested, you'd be willing to help me out." "Okay, I said it because I didn't want to miss my chance." "I'll do it for you." "Great," she answered. "I'll pick you up at 6:30. On Thursday, wear that nice red dress you wore last week." She stood up and walked away, giving me a flirty smile and a look over her shoulder as she went. I returned the smile and winked. Wow, this was going to be quite an adventure. I didn't know why she was so insistent that I go out with her dressed as a woman, but I was willing to do it if that's what it took. I had been trying to get her to go out with me for most of my life. I had a chance now. Thanks for watching. Check out Patreon if you want to have early access to the other parts. If not, it will be online in a couple of days.